Good afternoon. My name is Karen Finlay-Russell, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to Back to Basics, card folds, and card folds and card mats. I'll be using two tools for today's demonstration. The first one is the paper trimmer. The second one is the bone folder. Both of these can be found on page 151 of the current catalog. I'll also be using our basic white cardstock in the 8.5 by 11 size. And for the first card base, we'll simply be taking the 8.5 by 11 cardstock on the long side, putting it in up into 5.5. Oops. Sorry about that noise. And cutting it. Then we'll be turning it on the short side. And we'll be scoring it at 4 1/4. Once you've scored it, you'll fold together both corners with your thumbs pressed down on the fold line, and then using your bone folder, make sure that you have a good crease. This card can be used either portrait or landscape, portrait. You can also take a piece of the same size cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and instead of cutting it at 5.5, you're going to cut it at 4 1/4 on the short side. And then you'll be scoring it at 5.5 on the long side. Again, folding your corners together. Pressing down with your thumbs and giving it a good crease with your bone folder. Again, it can be used landscape or portrait. Those are basic card bases that are commonly used by stampers. The next card base is something that you will see, but not as often. So I'm just taking that piece of cardstock from the very first card that I made, and instead of scoring it at 4 1/4, I'm going to move it down to 2 1/8. Score it on both ends at 2 1/8. When you fold the two ends together, again, creasing with your fingers, ensuring it's folded well with your bone folder. And whoops, I am so sorry. What you end up with is a gatefold card. So it opens this way. Again, I'll bring in one of the pieces of paper that was left over from the second card. So the next card that is fairly common and we sell envelopes for in the Stampin' Up! Catalog is the 3 by 3 square card. So we'll take a piece. This piece is 4 1/4 by 11.5, 4 1/4 by 11. So we'll cut this down to 6 inches. By 3 inches. and then we'll score it at 3 inches. Folding in half, creasing with your thumbs, using your bone folder to make sure you have a good crease, and you have a nice little card for simple thank yous or for a gift card, that type of thing. And as I said, we have envelopes in the catalog that will fit this. They're, I believe, 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Next, I'd like to show you a very common card that is it's very popular right now. And so I thought I'd take a few minutes and show it to you today. This is called the Slimline Card. The popularity has grown over the past few months, and part of that is because you can fit it in the legal size envelopes, so you don't need special envelopes. But this card, what you will need to do is turn your cardstock on the long side, cut it at 7 inches, or you could turn it the other way and cut it off 4 inches. Basically what you need is an 8.5 by 7 piece of cardstock. You'll score it at 3.5. Fold down the middle on the score line. Use your bone folder to ensure you have a nice line. And then you can use it landscape or portrait. And that's your Slimline card. So those are the basic cards that I wanted to show you today. There is one other kind of card, but I think I will save that for my fancy fold card class that will be coming up probably in August, so look for that. What I'd like to show you next is card matting. So typically when you're making cards, you will mat your cards. And maybe I'll show you a card. It might be easier to explain this way. You'll mat your card. Your card base here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then you have a mat underneath and then your front panel. Typically those mats are a 1/4 inch smaller each time. So what I did when I was a beginning card maker is I used to scribble it down, usually on my sheet here, and I'd have it sitting there while I was making cards so that I was making sure I was cutting my mats the right size for my cards. What I've done here for you today, and these are all in inches, is gone ahead and put the measurements down so that your cards will always have the right size mat in 1/4 inch increments. So if you can take a screenshot of this, that would be great, because that will allow you to have this all the time. And I've gone down to 2 1/4 by 1 because I can't see going much smaller than that. That would probably be the size that you'd want to do a label. And that's if you want to keep all of your card mats in increments. You can always skip. You can go from 5 1/4 by 4 to 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and you'll just get a bigger distance between your mats when you're making your cards. I have seen other individuals use 1/8 measurements. I find them to be too small. I will only use those on specific types of cards that I'm trying to show the front of prevalently, I guess is the best way to use the term. More often than not, I use the 1/4 inch measurements. So again, there they are for you if you didn't get a chance to actually take a screenshot, don't hesitate to send me a message and I can send you the PDF for this. That's not a problem. But hopefully my video was helpful today for you. If you need to purchase any Stampin' Up! Products, today is June 2nd, 2021, and I do have a host code for you if you need it. I'll put it in the description of the video. Thank you. Have a great day.